Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is another dual video. Yes, we've got two replays featuring the Object 261 and the same player. Yes, it's the Bassman from Hell, and he's playing them on two separate maps, so we'll get to see how he performs on each of them. The Object 261's the Tier 10 Soviet SPG, and this time round he's on the northeast spawn of Klondike. No, you can't go through that. Oops. Excuse that moment. Yes, he wasn't concentrating at that moment of time. Okay. He's managed to find a firing position to start with. And he's looking towards the south area near the docks and the container port. It's a fairly reasonable guess that the enemy might be there. Oh, they are. In fact, there's an IS-7 and a T-110E5, and they're crossing the ice or the water towards the centre. Oh, and that one missed. Didn't give enough lead on target. Now, the standard reload for the Object 261 is 30.68 seconds. And Bassman has got a reload of 24.85, so he has managed to knock 6 seconds off that. Now this is one of those Artys. Good shot there, look. Oh, 26 hit points. It's one of the Artys that you can actually run out of ammunition on. You've only got 20 rounds. And that's really not long enough to last out an entire battle on a grand battle map like Klondike. In fact, in any map for that matter, you're more than likely going to run out of ammo before the end. Nicely aimed. The Centurion pulled back just in time to avoid any damage. Now, as you know, grand battle, all tier 10. And there's 30 on either side, so there's that much more targets to fire at. It's a bit surprising that Wargaming have actually left the Object 261 with short ammo. No, only 20 rounds. It's not really correct. In fact, in reality, the Object 261 only carried 18, or rather was only planned to carry 18. Oh, he's got a fire! And he gets a kill. The M48 pattern went down, set him alight, and he burned to death. He also damaged the track of the IS-7. He's taking so much damage that he's picking up a load of stun assist. No, it was only planned to carry 18 rounds because, after all, it was going to be built on the hull of the IS-7. But as you know, the IS-7 was never put into full production. In fact, they produced the prototypes. And it was a very good tank. It was way ahead. Everyone liked it. Even the drivers who drove the prototypes liked it. But it just never got accepted. I suppose really the answers behind that one are that it was a very heavy tank. And, well, they didn't really need a heavy tank at that particular moment in time. They needed light and medium tanks, so to speak. And that's why instead they continued with the T-54. And with the other designs like T-62 eventually. The IS-7 was just too far ahead of its time, I think, really, more than anything. And the Soviets decided in the end that they weren't going to go ahead and build it. Centurion Action 10, the same one he fired at before. Rounds out. He could splash him to death if he gets it close. Oh, and he does! So he's got his second kill now. You'd think that, considering the 212A, the Tier 9 Soviet SPG, has 30 rounds of 203mm ammunition, you'd think that they would give the 261 almost the same number of shells, or maybe slightly less, maybe 25 shells, because that would at least give it enough so he'd actually have enough rounds to last an entire game. So he's got his second kill at TVP T5051. That 268 is ripe for plucking. There he is. He's a splash kill at the very least. Just needs to get around near him. Oh! Oh, and the round went out just as he was dead. So that one was completely wasted. But he's relocating to avoid being too close to the enemy. Might need to remind that T-92 to move away because they are just a little too close. Those guys are moving this direction. Now, somebody was saying the other day, actually, I think it might have been Steve Walst, that the Object 261 is one of the better tier 10 Artys, that and the Conqueror gun carriage. And that's mainly because it dials in so quickly on the enemy. It's got a very narrow arc. It's only 10 degrees in total. And it does dial in incredibly quickly. And the reload is quite quick as well because it's only an 18cm naval gun. Rounds out. Direct hit. 300. The Alpha's 900 on this gun, but it's still very good. It can rack up a huge amount of damage. And the reload time, well, that's better than some tier 7 Arty. Okay, with GWE 100, he gets wiped out. Still got that attacking force, but they don't seem to be getting much further other than that bridge. And in fact, actually, the E100 is now pulling back behind the bridge. But he's being joined by a T110 E3, fires around in and gets some more splash for 337. They're way ahead of the enemy. I mean, they are 11 tanks ahead of the enemy. Oh no, it's just changed a bit more. As unbelievable as it might seem, they are now 12 tanks ahead of the enemy. Is it 12? No, 14 tanks ahead of the enemy. What am I saying? 14 tanks ahead. There's only 6 enemies left now. Look at this. And he gets the Jaegeru with an arson as well. He sets him alight. And that means now there's only 5 enemy tanks left. There are 4 in that area. In fact, they must all be in that area to think about it. It's only a 1 or 2 that he can't see. Fires around the E100, gets some more hit points off him. Yeah, these guys are about to get a big surprise when our force comes up behind them. They've been literally massacred. But it's actually Bassman who's got the most kills at the moment, but I think that's mainly down to the fact that he's been killing targets of opportunity, which are very low hit points. Wherever he finds one which is very, very low, he seems to get the kill on it. Of course, he needs damage on the enemy to get the marks. Another direct hit on the 60 TP 385, non-penetrating. Yeah, that 60 TP is taking a hammering. So the E3 backed up because he saw the E100 get close. And there goes the 60 TP taken out by the Leopard. So we're now going to lay a shot on the enemy E3 who's trying to hold off our force single-handed. And that splashed him for 372. We are capping at the moment. No need to cap. The 277 doesn't need to be there at all. Can't see why he's doing it. Maybe he thinks that it will help win the game, but no, in actual fact it won't help win the game. We need maximum damage. Rounds out the E3. Splash for 110 this time. It was a little further away, but the E3's gone, and that means now there's only one left. It's the E100, and somebody just dived on top of him, the M60, and died in the process. And the E3 goes in for the kill and shoots him at point blank range. And the game ends with 7 seconds left on the cap. That's the first battle. Let's have a look at the second one. The second replay is on the Ghost Town map, the Lost City. Game started. Well, looks like Bassman's going to go up on top of the hill for this one. I don't blame him actually. I've been up on top of the hill myself quite a few times, and it does actually give you some fairly good sight lines on both sides of the map. Where if you go low, you can be susceptible to an enemy tank such as an EBR, who actually makes a quick trip to try and find the Arty and kill them. It's a little more difficult for them to do that when you're at the top of the hill, because they first have to come up the hill towards you, and there's invariably a tank destroyer that's defending the hill. Okay, over on the far northeast corner, we've got a T185 rounds out. Looks good. Oh, just a little early, but it stunned him. Now you can see that the Bassman's actually got a mix of ammo. He's got the standard rounds, 10 of them, and he's also got the premium rounds. Now the standard rounds have got a burst radius of 10 meters, the premium ones 11, and it does make a big difference actually, that extra meter. Remember, it's pi r squared on the radius, so it is a big difference overall to the footprint. Okay, can't really see the Sheldon, but he's firing the round. Oh, he got a hit! He did get a hit. There was no explosion. In fact, he's not the only one who fired in that direction. It looks like one of our teammates actually also fired in the same spot, one of the other Arties, and they also hit that Sheridan. So I suspect the Sheridan's going to be missing quite a few hit points. He's got fairly thin armor. Okay, Bassman's loaded. The Object 140 stopped before he came around the corner, but he did get a hit, and unfortunately the enemy FB4005, the Heshbon, got a hit and killed him. Now Bassman's decided he's going to go down to the east side of the map. I rather prefer actually staying up, but you can see there's an EBR, a clown car, as Klaus calls them, in the east side of the map, so not so safe being over this side, because when there's a clown car about, it can be rather dangerous. He's trying to say to the other guys, fall back, because there are some enemies there. We've lost sight of that enemy EBR as well. You can see the Object 140 in that area, but nope, that's not on target. Now Bassman does know not to park next to other Arty. He's far enough away from these ones that his tracer wouldn't be seen if they were looking for all of them, but it is always a very true maxim that a lot of non-Arty players, or players who play tanks normally but then play Arty occasionally, suddenly find out themselves park next to another Arty, or do it deliberately themselves, and they end up coming a cropper, because obviously two Arty tracers much easier to see and counter battery than one. I've seen far too much of that recently, especially seeing enemy Arty taken out, or even your own Arty. That was a bit of a snapshot there on the 705. All he got was critical hits. I think he was trying to get a shot in before the guy got round the corner. It's an interesting move that he's actually going in this direction. The enemy EPR has actually now turned up near the hill, but there is an AMX-50B defending that area, so he's firing into that melee. Oh yes, he got a bombardier! He took out the 277 and the T110E3 with one shot there. So he's suddenly got 2 kills with just one shot. They both came together on that corner. While I was rattling on about the EBR, he spotted that the enemy were coming around that corner in force, then he's fired another one in there, because the enemy is so close together. He should be loading the premium rounds right now to hammer those guys, because if they sit there together, they're going to get wiped out. It's a big mistake sometimes of going in ham-fisted, you might say. That FB4005's gone down now. We've just lost our E100, and there's another hit on their E100. He's pulling back because he's suddenly realised that is a death zone for all of their tanks. In the meanwhile, the enemy lost their clown car. Yes, the EBR was taken out during the game. I think it was taken out by the AMX-50B, who's got 2 kills. So I have the feeling he did what he was intended to do. He actually stopped the clown car coming up the hill, so the hill would have been safe. But if Bassman had been up the hill. He certainly wouldn't have got an easy shot on those enemy tanks when they bunched together. So it really did help that he relocated. And there goes one of the enemy Arty, taken out by our GW E100. Got an E5 underneath that building, and there's the E10. E10? E100, what am I saying? And he's got the a shot on the E5, but we didn't see any damage, just stun. Ah, the enemy 261's been spotted, and he's out the game as well. In fact, it was our clown car who got him. There's only 4 enemies left now. The E5, the E100, the Jaeger, and one of their Arties, the T92 HMC. That's it. Okay, Bassman's pulling back. I'm not sure if he's actually trying to do... Oh, he's trying to get a better angle on the E100 and the E5. They parted now, so he fires one in. Oh, it hits the building. But the E5 dies. The T92 has just been spotted by the EBR. Again, proving that those clown cars are absolutely deadly to Arty, which is why they were brought into the game in the first place by Wargaming. Ruin the game. And that's it. It's all over. They've killed all the enemy tanks. So let's have a look at the end of battle stats for both games. And here's the end of battle results. And in the first game on Klondike, BassmanFromHell managed to get an ace tanker in the Object 261. He got a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He got 4 exactly. An arsonist, he set light to 2 enemy vehicles, not 1. And he also got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he managed to get 12. His win rate in that game was 4,421, which is Super Unicum standard. If we look at the team score, we can see that he didn't get the highest damage in the game. That actually went to the 60 TP on his own team, who managed to get a steel wall and 6,546 hit points of damage. The second highest damage being the Bobject, who managed to get 4,036. And the third highest damage was Bassman with 3,741. When it came to kills, though, he did get the highest number with 4. 3 kills went to the 60 TP, the AMX 13105, the E3, the Jaeger, all 3 each, and then there's a number of tanks with 2 kills apiece. And when it came to base XP, he was second again. The 60 TP got the high spot with because of the high damage, 1,344 base experience points to him. 1,116 went to Bassman. 1,093 went to the T92 HMC on his team, and 1,020 to the AMX 13105. Those were the only guys who managed to get over 1,000. He fired 16 rounds in that game, so he still had 4 rounds spare at the end of the game. 3 direct hits, no penetrations, but 22 splash. So he obviously hit more than 1 tank at the same time. 3,741 hit points, all of it done at more than 300 meters. He damaged 10 of the enemy, killed 4, and did 1,301 hit points of damage assistance and 1,706 hit points of stun assist off 17 stuns. On a premium count, he earned 67,851 credits, and after resupply of ammunition and consumables, and remember he did fire a fair amount of premium ammo, he ended up with a loss of 15,149 credits altogether. He did pick up 7 bonds for the game, and 1,674 XP, 3,348 for completing the mission and events, 5,022 altogether. So that was the first game, a reasonably good game, as he says, an ace tanker, and second by experience and third by damage. Let's have a look at the second game and see how he got on in that one. Well, that was a third class tanker in that one. He managed to get a bombardier. Yes, he took out 2 tanks with 1 shot, the E3 and the 277. In fact, they were the only kills he did get during the game, but he really did make good use of those shells. He also got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 10, and he got a Confederate in this one as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else, at least 6 tanks subsequently taken out by other teammates. His win rate from that one was 2,888, which is Unicum standard. So again, a good standard overall. If we look at team score, we can see he didn't get the highest damage again. In fact, this time round, he got the 3rd highest damage. The highest was the FV4005 on his own team with 5,062 hit points. The second highest damage was the Object 277 on the enemy team with 3,173, and then we got Bassman with 2,743 hit points. When it came to kills in this one, it was that AMX50B who did the best. He got 3 kills, ended up with a Bilot's medal, and if you remember, that is a very difficult medal to get because it means you have to suffer a lot of damage and still be able to win through the game. So yes, if you've actually got a Bilot's, you really have achieved something special. The Bassman managed to get his Confederates, as we saw. The GWE 100 also got the same, and the T95 FV4201 also picked up a Confederate in that game. And you can see that Bassman was one of the whole group that got 2 kills each. The Heshbon, Bassman, the GWE, the EBR 105, and the Batchat 155-58. When it came to base XP, he was a little further down the table. The EBR did the best in this one with 885, mostly because he was getting spotting, I think, if we check that. Come on. Doesn't want to show it. There it is. That's better. Yes, he did. 1,960 hit points of spotting assist, so that's why he did well in that game. And the FV4005, I think, well, he just got it on damage. The GWE 100, 825, I suppose that's stun assist. We can check that. Yes, he did get some stun assist. And then we've got the AMX50B. Of course, he got his because he did survive, considering he'd had so much damage. The T95 FV4201 was just ahead of Bassman. And then we got Bassman with 766. So he's in the top third of the team, I think you can say, or at least close to the top third. Let's have a look at the detail. He fired 12 shots in this game, got 5 direct hits, no penetrations, 14 splash. Damage of 2,743 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. He damaged 8 in the enemy, killed 2, and did 1,200 hit points of stun assist off 12 stuns. On a premium count, he earned 48,357 credits, got 24,179 from personal reserves, a total of 72,536 credits. And in this game, because he used less of the premium ammo, in fact actually it's mostly standard ammo he fired in this game, he actually ended up with a profit of 18,336 credits altogether. If he'd been on a free-to-play account, he actually would have made a loss, but because he was on a premium, he made a profit. He got 5 bonds for this game. 1,149 XP, 6,894 for completing the mission events, and 8,043 experience points altogether. So I suppose you could say actually it was a better result in terms of he earned more credits on this one than he did on the previous, or rather he came out ahead on credits on this one than making a loss on the other one. But I suppose, you know, it depends. I mean, the fact is that he did do so well in the previous game, simply by virtue of the fact that he managed to get the most kills. This one wasn't an ace tanker, but yes, he came out with a profit. It swings and roundabouts with the Object 261. Sometimes you can be ahead, sometimes you're not. But certainly 2 very good games from BassmanFromHell. If you enjoyed this replay, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.